This is Pulse of Africa, the face of Ethiopia, the voice of Africa.
Greetings viewers, you're watching Pulse of Africa. I'm Edo Mesai bringing you today's latest news. First, here are top stories. Burkina Faso declares UN coordinator persona non grata. Morocco marks major medical milestone with rare kidney transplants. Nigeria's president has set a target of 7% annual economic growth. Now the news in detail. Burkina Faso has declared United Nations Regional Coordinator Calor Flores Merzignac persona non grata over a UN report alleging violations against children in the West African country, a government spokesperson said on Monday. Burkinabe authorities were neither involved in the preparation of the UN report titled Children in Armed Conflict in Burkina Faso, nor informed of the study's conclusions before publication, the government spokesperson said in a statement. The government accused the United Nations of making baseless assertions and stating falsehoods in the report without citing relevant investigations or court rulings. The United Nations expressed regret over the decision, UN spokesperson Stephanie Dujarric said on Monday. Tanzania's Zanzibar Electoral Commission, ZEC, on Monday released the official timetable for the 2025 general elections, announcing that early voting will take place on October 28, following by the main election day on October 29. This marks the second time in Zanzibar's history that early voting will be held one day before the general elections, the first instance occurring in 2020. According to a statement issued by the ZEC, early voting will be conducted in accordance with the Election Act, with eligible participants, including election supervisors, polling station managers, police officers on duty, ZEC commissioners and staff, as well as voters assigned to security duties on election day. The commission said the collection of nomination forms will run from August 28 to September 10. The Mohammed VI Foundation for Health and Sciences announced the successful completion of Africa's first kidney transplant between a donor and recipient with incompatible ABO blood types, a landmark breakthrough in regional medicine. The complex procedure was carried out in close coordination between the departments of anesthesia and resuscitation, nephrology and urology, hematology and medical biology, in collaboration with the Mohammed VI Blood Transfusion Center and the vascular surgery team. Scientific support was provided by Professor Lionel Rusting, a global expert in kidney transplantation with blood type incompatibility. The achievement, hailed as a major advance in medical innovation, underscores Morocco's commitment to expanding access to organ transplants and pushing boundaries of immunocompatibility. The African Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Africa CDC, welcomed the approval of the first ever malaria treatment specifically formulated for infants. The news is a major advance in closing a critical gap in care for Africa's youngest and most vulnerable, Africa CDC said in a press release. The new treatment, called Coratum Baby, is dedicated to newborns and infants weighing less than 5 kilograms. The approval of the treatment is a major step forward in the fight against malaria. It ensures that even the smallest and most vulnerable infants now have access to safe and effective treatment, said Africa CDC Director General Dr. Jean Kaseya. In other stories, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz said on Monday that Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky are expected to meet within 2 weeks. He made the remarks during a press conference after attending a multilateral meeting at the White House, where U.S. President Donald Trump hosted Zelensky and other European leaders to address the Ukraine crisis. We must put pressure on Russia, Merz wrote, reiterating that there must be a ceasefire before further talks. Ahead of the talks, Merz said that he can't imagine another round of meetings without a ceasefire, noting that a ceasefire is needed before serious negotiations can begin. China and India on Monday agreed to maintain momentum of bilateral ties. The consensus came from talks between visiting Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi and his Indian counterpart Subrahmanyam Jaishankar. Wang said that in today's world, the changing situation is evolving rapidly. Unilateral bullying practices are rampant and free trade in the international order face severe challenges. As the two largest developing countries with a combined population of more than 2.8 billion, China and India should demonstrate a sense of global responsibility, act as major powers, set an example for developing countries in pursuit of strength through unity, and contribute to promoting world multipolarization and democratization of international relations, he said.
The story of resurgent Ethiopia and burgeoning Africa is here, only on the Pulse of Africa channel. All the time, Pulse of Africa, the face of Ethiopia, the voice of Africa.
Now to business news. South Africa's agricultural exports rose to $161 million in the second quarter of 2025, up 26% from the same period in 2024, Minister of Agriculture John Steenhuisen said on Monday. According to the minister, South Africa's agricultural sector has demonstrated remarkable growth and resilience in the face of significant global trade headwinds. South African products exported to the United States have been subject to a 30% tariff imposed by the Trump administration since August 7. In a statement issued today, Steenhuisen emphasized the need to enhance South Africa's global competitiveness. Our capacity to secure steady, long-term access to the U.S. market remains a top priority, he said, underscoring the importance of exploring new trade partnerships to mitigate the effects of the tariff. Finally, Nigeria's president has set a target of 7% annual economic growth, aiming to lift the country out of its financial struggles. In the first quarter, Nigeria's economy grew by 3.13%, a figure boosted by a rebasing of its gross domestic product (GDP). This exercise increased the GDP size to $243.55 billion, but the growth rate was slower than expected. While addressing the federal cabinet, President Tinubu stated that the reforms implemented have strengthened macroeconomic stability and boosted investor confidence. However, he noted that low public savings remain a constraint on growth. Before we close, here's a quick look at the latest global commodities price updates. Next, let's take a look at the current weather forecast. That's all from Pulse of Africa today. Thank you for being with us.
This is Pulse of Africa, the face of Ethiopia, the voice of Africa.